2, 3, 4.
Rev up your engines!
Well, here's one for you truck guys. It turns out that Hyundai Santa Cruz in 2022 is going to be making this compact pickup that's got a whopping 3-foot long bed. Kind of useless for a pickup, having a tiny little 3-foot bed. But they keep trying different things. People look at it. Some guys say, oh, look, it's great. What an idea. Put everything together. Other purists say, what a pile of junk. Who's going to buy that thing? Well, I'm more or less siding with the people that say, what a pile of junk. Who's going to buy that thing? Who wants a 3-foot bed? Hyundai historically has horrendous resale values, so the depreciation will probably be extremely high on those vehicles. You take the Toyota pickup trucks, the Ford pickup trucks. They have decent resale values because they've had them for years. People like them. They hold up. Hyundai was never known for things like that. And coming up with this kind of weird compact truck that's got 4 doors that are pretty much full size, and then a little bitty 3-foot bed. I don't know what Hyundai's thinking on that one, but 2022, they're going to have that thing out. Now, realize how it always goes is the car models are always off, like, even though now it's 2020, the 2021 models came out. It's all an absurd selling scam that the car manufacturers have been doing for quite some time. But, you know, you want to see something weird, check out that 2022 spy cam of the Santa Cruz Hyundai. I don't think it's going to be such a gigantic hit, but hey, you never know. The world's a strange place. Going by their past experience, I can't see that thing as making inroads to anything. Now, here's one I just had to laugh at. The Renault-Nissan executives are saying that an efficiency push will create industry's most powerful alliance of those two clown companies. Now, their whole idea is to cut a bunch of models and make a base model car, kind of like the skateboard concept that they do with a lot of electric cars. Have one platform, put a bunch of different bodies and stuff on it. Well, they see, well, it's going to be more efficient to make it that. All I have to say is, you can make them as efficiently as you want. If you still keep making them as poorly as Nissan and Renault make them, it doesn't matter how efficiently you're building them. If you're not building them correctly, they still aren't very well made cars. Now you can build your cars in the cheapest fashion possible, having one base model like they're talking about, and then everything else is put on top of it. But it all comes down to quality, not how you can make them cheaper, how you can spend less time building them. When companies say, hey, we're laying off a bunch of people to make our business more efficient. Well, let's say they have a bad product like Nissan. You lay off so many workers, probably going to be even worse quality than it was in the first place. I've seen that at so many companies over the last 52 years. When they start trimming stuff off, not only do they trim up their costs, they're trimming their quality. And if you start with a relatively low quality to begin with, and you're trying to say, oh, well, we can fix this whole problem by how we build them cheaper and not having a zillion models out there, hey, it may be more efficient for them, but it's more efficient for you to buy a better built vehicle that lasts longer and doesn't have problems than to buy one that was more efficiently made, but it was still efficiently made junk. Now, here's some strange news. At least it's strange to me because what is in a name? Turns out that the Ford Bronco and the Ford Mustang might become their own sub-brands, just like Dodge Ram became Ram, just Ram itself. To me, that just kind of shows the absurdity of our entire society. They're still the same vehicles, made in the same place. They're just giving them different names. And really, what's in a name? You know, what's the difference if you have Ford Broncos, and there's various options you can get, Ford Mustangs, you can get various options you get, or call them brands now. That's our whole society is just kind of like overwhelmed with this idea of brand, which me, I grew up in the 60s. Let me tell you, we hated brands. When I was a kid, I'd buy the jeans. Not only would I take the label off, but I'd even take the stitching out. If it was Wrangler and had a W, I would get a razor blade and I'd take the W stitches out because I didn't want to be an advertising for some company. Now, you know, my kids and grandkids are, oh, we got to have this brand. They're actually paying a ton of money for clothing and they're walking advertising for that company. Me, it's beyond my realm. I think it's stupid. I think it's just dumb as can be. But people buy something because it's got a certain brand name on it, which makes absolutely no sense to me. I go by quality, not by the name that's on it. Why anybody would say, oh, we're going to make a brand of this now. It's still the same vehicle, made in the same factory, but now it's become a brand instead of a Mustang with this option, they'll have, here's the Mustang brand, and then here's our different Mustang cars. Well, they're still the same Mustang cars, they just have different things put on them. I don't know, our whole society is getting carried away with this brand stuff, if you ask me. Well, it was bound to happen. Now, there is hybrid making of plastic parts. Now, of course, originally it was injection molding, fasting, they can make stuff real fast. And then people came up with the 3D printers. Well, I don't know if you've ever used a 3D printer, but man, those things are slow as can be. Plus, they're often extremely sloppy, and they often create somewhat brittle parts layer after layer. Well, there's a company called Hybrid Manufacturing Facility. They are building a system where it's a combination of there's a mold, but the 3D printing is printing into the mold, and they claim it's fast and accurate and cheap to do. It's called Axiom, which is automated injection into an open mold. So it's a hybrid of a printing thing, throwing it in, and actually having molds. So, of course, originally, if you have a real specialized things and you're making just a few, yeah, you can use 3D printing stuff. But if you're making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of stuff, injection molding blows it away. So this is the middle ground, where it has the flexibility of the printers, the speed of injection molding, not quite as fast, of course, because you're pouring into an open mold, not a closed mold. But still, the printers that you can change things a lot and do a lot of things with, and the speed of injection molding, because you're still using the mold that you're putting the stuff into. Kind of interesting technology. You have polymer printing without the brittleness of the layers, because instead of going layer, 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 it's doing it into a mold, where it's more or less melting it into the mold. Interesting idea. We'll see if they end up using it for stuff on cars, because cars, just face it, they're always changing the styles of stuff. They don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of creating giant injection molds for them all over again. Fast little thing, and then print inside it. Sounds like an interesting idea. Now, if you never understood adaptive headlights and how they work, I'm going to give you the basic skinny on how the things work. The earliest ones out were ones like BMW had, where they would follow the curves. What that is they're called the curb adaptive headlights. As you corner, the headlights have motors in them, and they corner and they follow as you go around, so that you can see about the curve better, which isn't that bad of an idea. But of course, as anything else, now you have a motor and something that's related to the computer steering of your car, all the sensors, and of course, those things eventually do break, and then you've got a pain in the butt. Now, they have cornering lights that are fixed lights, and they only come on when it knows you're turning. So it turns on to light that part. They're extra lights, so you can see better. When you go straight, they turn themselves off automatically. Kind of like, you remember in those old movies, you see the cops with their floodlights in the cars, and they're looking through the desert by hand, manually. Well, this thing does it automatically with computers. Now, some cars have automatic high beams. When you're driving down the road, it's real dark, they automatically turn them on. Traffic's coming the other way, it automatically dims them. That's not a bad idea, but then again, here we have technology, and I'm certain eventually it's going to break, and they'll either be stuck on or off, and then you'll have to spend a fortune to fix them. Now, the absolute newest one is called adaptive driving beams. Those are LED arrays that automatically, they don't have different bulbs, they have LED arrays, and they're turned on and off depending on how the computer decides you need them. Now, this is so new, they're prohibited in the U.S. Some European cars have them, but you can't get them in the U.S. yet. But I imagine at some point they will, because if you remember ages ago, they had the really bright beams. They were illegal in the United States, but legal in Europe. So if you imported a European car, you'd have to take the European systems off and put on the American systems. But then a few years later, the Americans allowed those to be built and put in their own cars. So I could see these probably coming to the United States soon, the adaptive driving beams that the computers sense it all. These are so complicated that each LED can be turned on and off, whatever brightness you want, even according to the other cars coming. It can see the cars coming, and it can see, well, there's cars over there, so we won't make it bright over there, but there's no cars over there, so we'll make it brighter over there. Sure, I'm sure you can do it with computers if you really want to. And yes, if they work right, you would see things better. You would, especially if you're taking a curve. Say you're out in the desert, taking a curve, you go ahead, you see there's animals ahead, you could slow down or whatever. Yeah, these things would work if they are built correctly. Now, all I have to say is, if they're going to make this stuff mainstream, I wouldn't buy one of those cars until Toyota started making them, and I trust them. I'd buy one that they made, but some of the other ones, nah, I'd be kind of leery about whether I would want $3-4 grand to replace them because they broke. No thanks. I'll pay that for an entire car, not just a pair of headlights.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.